4 years ago, Becky Koets Richard was diagnosed with breast cancer. After a double mastectomy and treatment for her cancer, Becky underwent surgery to reconstruct her breasts. After hearing about the implant's safety and use by millions of women can't be wrong, right? Wrong. As it turns out, breast implant illness is a real problem with a real solution.
Becky, thank you so much for taking the time today to be here and to have this very important conversation. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Just getting right into the heart of the matter, right into all of this, first, you've undergone so much, but after the reconstructive surgery, let's skip to that part of the story and then we're going to go back. But what symptoms were you having? How did all of this start? How did you know something was wrong?
Well, at first I didn't know that anything was wrong because the tricky part about breast implant illness is it mirrors a lot of chemotherapy symptoms. So I had a lot of symptoms that just started with chemotherapy. And then when most women start to feel better, I started to feel worse. And so I had chronic fatigue, I had brain fog, I had difficulty concentrating, difficulty finishing my sentences. I had muscle pain and weakness, joint pain, stiffness. I had a hard time getting up out of chairs, or even simple things like sitting down on the toilet was hard for me. Joint pain while I was sleeping would wake me up at night, so I wasn't sleeping well. I had hair loss after my hair had grown back from chemo because I was bald during chemotherapy, lost all my hair. Joint inflammation. I had blurred and double vision. I had hypothyroid, so thyroid issues and problems, gynecological problems, ovarian cysts, vaginal bleeding, which led to a full hysterectomy because I had orange-sized cysts that developed on my ovaries that were causing me to hemorrhage. I had low libido, I had bruising, severe gastrointestinal problems, including diarrhea 6-7 times a day. I was diagnosed with a inflammatory colitis. I was unable to digest food. My weight continued to drop. So when I finished chemotherapy, I was about 135 pounds, and I got down to 115 pounds. That was about 2 years after chemotherapy ended. I had ringing in my ears, heart palpitations, numbness and tingling in my hands, and elevated inflammatory markers in my blood. So doctors knew there was something going on in my body. My immune system was reacting, but nobody could really tell me why or what was going on. And I was also diagnosed with osteoporosis. So I just had a whole bunch of things going on.
I cannot even.
And, like I said, a lot of those things mirror symptoms of chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was going back to my regular checkups, it was, well, it takes time and you just have to be patient, which I knew, and I was okay with that. I was just trying to work through the symptoms and just kind of taking little baby steps to try to feel better.
Right.
But my health just seemed to be spiraling downward.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you went for so long with this, with no answers. You saw doctors of all kinds and went to appointments of all sorts after no results from the medical community and advice to accept your new normal. You kept searching, thank goodness. Eventually you found your answer and you found it online. Tell us about your finding of breast implant illness and how you felt when you learned about it.
Well, that's kind of a funny story, because I remember sitting in my chair and not feeling well, because usually right around 2-3 o'clock, I would just become exhausted to where I a lot of times I would take a nap or really just have to sit down before dinner, because I just couldn't, I was unable to function basically. Even just walking out to the mailbox to get the mail would exhaust me. So I remember sitting in my chair and thinking, basically settling into my new normal and thinking, okay, I'm a glass half full kind of person. So I really just have to power through, and I have to figure out, how am I going to cope with these symptoms? But especially with the weight loss, I was starting to get really scared. I thought, I could be dying and I don't even know why. And this is crazy because I'm going to all these doctors and nothing's really showing up.
Yeah.
So I was just on Facebook, scrolling through Facebook, and I saw this article, and it was something about breast implant illness. And I can't even remember where the article was from. It was one of the popular news publications, but so I remember thinking, breast implant illness, what in the world? So just out of curiosity, I didn't even know what that was. I just clicked on the article and I started reading, and there was every single one of my symptoms. And I just started to cry because I thought, this could be my answer. This could be why I'm feeling so sick. So really I was emotional, but I was emotional because for the first time in a long time, I had hope that maybe I could get better.
Wow. Yeah. I just can't even, actually, I can feel the chills as you're telling the story, just seeing every single one of your symptoms just bulleted there in front of you. Finally, you'd found something.
Yeah, because really the medical community, I have to say that all of my doctors are very kind, caring people. I never went to the doctor and of course I had cancer, right? So I was never told, oh, this is in your head, or you're crazy, or these things that other women with breast implant illness, they hear this. So at least I had this underlying issue that gave me validity with doctors. And they were all very kind, caring people. But I really got to see how piecemeally, if that's even a word, that our healthcare system is, because they're trying to treat symptoms. And so, like with my symptoms, I went to an excellent gastro doc, and he was trying to help me as much as he could. And he put me on some medications, which helped for a while. But again, it's just like, oh, okay, you're having joint pain, go to a rheumatologist, or you're having gastro issues, go to this gastro doc. Gynecological issues, go and see your gynecologist. So these doctors just were trying to help me with these symptoms, but to see them all on this one page it just blew my mind.
Wow.
And that this could even be why,
Right.
Who would have ever thought that breast implants from, breast cancer reconstruction could make you sick?
Right. You figure like, okay, you made it past the hard part. Now we're going to put you back together. We're going to do this thing and it's going to be fine because,
yeah, these are going to make you feel normal, and you're young, and, you've got your whole life ahead of you, and we want to make you feel normal in clothes and make you feel like a woman. And so this is all the talk that surrounds breast reconstruction. So it just never even crossed my mind.
And it was something you just said there was so interesting too, that there's a problem in that there is a treatment of symptoms, not necessarily a treatment of like the patient as a whole, but rather I'll tackle this symptom, you tackle that symptom. That's really
Everything
interesting.
is so specialized.
Right. So sometimes in that specialization, in those silos, we get lost with the whole patient that's there right before.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse.
Wow.
Because we're so fortunate to have these specialists. But
absolutely.
But then, putting them all together is really hard sometimes.
Wow. Yeah. That is super interesting. So here's the thing. So gravity tells us what goes up must come down. Breast implant illness would tell us what goes in must come out when it is in regard to implants. You had your explant short time ago. How are you feeling now? Is it a night and day difference? Is it what can people expect if they choose to go this course and see if this is going to be an answer for them?
Well, this is the tricky part. There is no test to determine if you have breast implant illness. And so what women are left with is this: we have to educate ourselves, and we have to know our bodies and our symptoms. And then, quite frankly, we have to make this Hail Mary decision. And mine was to cut my body open again, to have these removed and to just see if it would help.
Right.
Because there's no guarantee. There was no guarantee for me that this would make my symptoms go away. But I was so sick that I was willing to take the chance, and I really just had no other choice. There was no other option for me. So for me, it wasn't hard to decide that. I knew I had to.
Right.
And actually, when I woke up in recovery, I've had this neck pain in the back of my neck for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up and it was gone. And I thought, well, this is crazy. It's got to be the drugs I'm on, right?
Right.
But as I came home, and you're on the pain medication, but then in between those doses, like when you wake up in the morning and you need your pain medication again, I still had no neck pain. And it hasn't come back. And it's been 9 weeks now. And so my neck pain has vanished. My joint pain is better by about 95%.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So I still have a little bit of joint pain, but I feel like I have my life back. My blurred vision is gone. The ringing in my ears is gone. I haven't had any heart palpitations since surgery. So I'm now eating things that I never would have been able to eat. They just would have made me so sick.
Wow.
So I went out, I had Thai food for lunch today.
Oh, awesome. Extra spicy or just a little spicy?
Just a little spicy. Baby steps. Baby steps. But I never would have been able to eat that. Never. I mean, it just would have made me so sick. Wow. So even that is so exciting.
Absolutely.
I'm gaining weight, and different women react differently. Some women actually will get very bloated and gain weight with breast implant illness. So that's the crazy thing about it too, is it affects different women in different ways, from your hair follicles all the way down to your toenails.
It's incredible. It's incredible what one foreign object will do to your entire body, your entire system. Like, I would say 2 foreign objects.
Sure. Sometimes one.
Sometimes one, for sure. Yeah, sometimes one.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's incredible.
And one of the things that really surprised me that I didn't even realize was waking up and feeling rested. So I hadn't even realized that was one of my symptoms, but I would wake up and just be tired and exhausted because I wasn't sleeping well. But now I wake up and I just feel rested and ready for the day, and I have energy, and I don't even drink coffee. So it feels so good to just have that energy.
That's incredible. It's like you got a whole new lease on life.
Yeah.
You're just back to you.
I feel like I'm getting back there. Yeah. It's exciting.
Right. Wow. That's so incredible. So you've gone through all of this, so you've gone from breast cancer to double mastectomy to chemotherapy to breast implants to explants. Becky, you've been through so much. After all of this, in what ways do you feel you have become stronger because of it, because of the struggle? How have you become stronger?
Well, I think if you talk to anybody who goes through hard times, they can attest to the fact that I always say, life throws a lot of crap at us. It really does, all the time. And no matter who you are, we just have hard times in life. But there's, two ways we can deal with that. We can resist it, and we can just always try to push it away, or we can let it be a fertilizer on our hearts and on our lives. And we all know that crap makes the best fertilizer, right? In our gardens. But it also has to compost. It has to sit there for a while, and it has to cultivate. And it can do that to our hearts. It can cultivate our hearts. And when we go through hard times and we allow it to do that, it creates empathy and compassion. And not only does it make us stronger, but it gives us the greatest gift in life, I think, which is human connection.
Yeah.
So we can really connect with people that maybe we never would have before. It opens up our whole world to other people.
Wow. So yeah, strength is just the beginning. There's all these other wins to be found. What starts with a loss you can find so many wins, and that I've never heard it put that way, and I love that. I'm gonna have to quote you on a number of occasions. I just know.
Good.
So
good. Well, it's just kind of I'm a really visual person, and that came to me one day. It's like, and someone had said to me, "You've just been through so much crap." And I said, yeah, but that's what we can use as a fertilizer in our lives.
Right. Well, you used it beautifully. And this story is part of it, right? So with this story, fertilizing other people who maybe need to hear exactly this, to know that there is hope. I guess I think from there, I'd like to say, that your story is such a powerful one that does need to be seen and be heard by those who have implants currently and by those who are considering them. So my next question is, if there was one piece of advice that you would like to share from all of this, what would that be?
Well, I would say if you're going through breast cancer, take your time to make those decisions. Everything feels very rushed when you're diagnosed. And now that I've been through it, I realize that you can take time. You don't have to make the decision to reconstruct or go flat or whatever your choice is going to be. You don't have to make that right away. And I'm actually working with 3 other women right now, and we're working with Representative Julie Calley in the Michigan State House of Representatives. And she is working on a bill that she's going to propose that will require all plastic surgeons to go through a checklist with every patient. And breast implant illness and the symptoms will be on there. And in 2019, the FDA issued a black box warning on all implants. And so that will have to be discussed with patients. So I think informed consent is really important. Women have the right to know what we're considering putting in our bodies. And I didn't know. I wasn't informed. I wasn't told that breast implants were safe and that these new generation implants were perfectly safe and not like the old ones. And so, but aside from that, just taking your time with decisions, just a basic one is find something to be grateful for every day and write it down. And sometimes if you can find one thing, you can find 2 things, or you can find 3 things. And really, when I was going through the worst of it, that kept me going. some days I would only write down 1, 2, 3 words, but it was a way that I could keep my mind focused on the positive, and that really helped me through.
Mm-hmm. Well, my hope is that those who are lost and confused and scared because they haven't found an answer, but they have the same list of symptoms that you did, will hear this story, will hear your story in your words, and know that you may not be lost at all, and that it may be a real thing that has a real solution, and to have confidence and to have hope in that.
Yeah. And there's some great resources out there too. The article that I stumbled across
Mm-hmm.
had a Facebook group called Breast Implant Illness and Healing by Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And that Facebook group has over 130,000 members in it that are dealing with breast implant illness symptoms.
Wow.
So that Facebook group, and then they have a website also, is just full of resources and information for women. And that's where I started, and it really guided me through the process, and I'm so grateful for it.
That's so wonderful to hear.
And now I'm in a group called Flat Fierce Forward.
Love it.
That's a Facebook group, and I wish that I would have seen that before I made my decision, because there are so many images of women living flat in that group. And they're women of all ages, in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s, all the way up to women in their 80s. And they post pictures of themselves, and it just makes living flat a viable option, and a healthy option, and a happy option that's available for all women.
Right. And I've gone through and I've seen some of these beautiful photos, and a beautiful option, that our society says this is beauty and it looks like this. But no, there's other very gorgeous versions of beauty. Yeah.
And when I was going through chemotherapy in 2017 and I Googled women flat images, not really a lot came. Oh, sorry about that.
That is life, and we roll with it.
Isn't it? So not a whole lot of options came up as far as images. So I saw bald women going through treatment that were flat, but that's more of a scary, sad image. But as far as women just living their everyday lives flat, women in beautiful dresses flat, women going to work looking like $1 million flat, or in a bathing suit flat, these are all images that we all need to see. So myself, I refuse to wear any prosthetics. I'm living flat.
All right. Well, I will join you in that, sister. I mean,
thank you.
It's my natural state of things, but
that's great too.
Your story. Thank you so much, Becky, for sharing this. And Jack and I, AwareNow, are so honored. Thank you so much for taking the time to help people be more aware now. So appreciate
you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you so much, Becky.
All right. God bless.
Take care.